Welcome everybody. Looking forward to the next couple of days of meetings. I'm absolutely packed, so if anybody puts anything in my mailbox, I may not get back to you right away. Every publisher is obviously different. Rodell is a family-owned, third-generation business. We've been pretty much in the same, I would say, about 300 acres in eastern Pennsylvania, about 50 miles north of Philadelphia. And the Rodell family was clearly the leader in the organic movement in the United States, working closely with Sir Howard here in the UK. I also will say, with regard to Source Interlink, we receive scan information on a regular basis. We review all wholesale distributors across the scan, which gives us a daily, weekly look at how the activity is going at point of sale, and clearly the Source merchandising team is coming out on top on a regular basis, Mike. Thank you. You bet. Pretty straightforward. We are in health, wellness, and gardening. Again, a 70-year farming and print business. The farm that originally got us started is just about a half a mile from our offices. We now have about a 280-acre farm that is in its 30th year of organic farming testing. We've been in print for 70 years. We've been pretty much through mail order and subscription for the first 40, and the last 30 we've gotten deeply into retail and advertising. So to a certain extent we came a little later to that part of the party. Fortunately for us, in the last 3-4 years, with regard to our sales at retail, we've managed to grow our market share. And that only feels so good until the sentence is over, and then you gotta get back to the reality of the sales are down. We're a third-generation business. Maria Rodell is the chairman of our company, and her goal, like other family-owned businesses, is to move the business on to the next generation. I'm gonna touch on the digital world and really the impact of digital and the impact of the economy. Basically, as we've looked at it, someone earlier today said that, kind of look at the world as it is, okay? Know what your reality is, and that's kind of how we took a look at it. And as I've said, you either got our magazines in the mail or you got them at the newsstand. But certainly things have changed quite a bit in the last few years. And I picked Men's Health, but you could almost pick any of our titles. And to a certain degree, some of them are probably even more robust than Men's Health, even though it is on websites and tablets and Kindles, and we have many, many apps and web views, and Runner's World is probably even the more robust of our group due to the fact that the intensity of training, the monitoring of results over time brings a lot of folks back to many of the applications and web-enabled programs that we have with Runner's World. And yet in the last 4 or 5 years, our print business on Runner's World is as strong as ever, with a nice, robust $5.99 cover price. That's US. But does all this mean it's the end of print or in regard to what we're talking about today, the end of the newsstand? And our view is not that. Certainly things have changed, to Mike's point, but that's okay, because part of our job here is to manage change. We're really making sure we can get where our consumers, where our readers, where the folks who want to interact with us can find us, and we're really sort of obligated to do that if they are. We put the information out there. We are resourceful. We are deep into research. We spend a lot of time every day across the board, whether it be in our gyms or on our bikes or testing our shoes, et cetera, working through many of the programs that you'll find in our magazines and now, of course, on our websites and elsewhere today. So as a content owner, we have to continue to expand and bring this knowledge to everyone as quickly as we can. The newsstand issue ultimately, and the print magazine, if you will, is the beginning of it all. As they start, as you know, every month, every week, whichever, with blank pieces of paper. And those must be filled in a coherent, a cogent way so that folks can go from front to back and walk away feeling as good today as they did 20 years ago or 30 years ago when they really had no other options. The trend for us is it's still the lion's share of how people will approach our brands. The other, as we've heard more times than not today, the growth is in percentages, it's not an aggregate. The loss of the newsstand is not equal in any way to the gains that we've seen in digital. Truly, the 90-10 rule definitely applies. And as you can see in the chart there, it's almost the same information as the really nice big line one we got, but basically what we're hearing is 85 to 90% of our folks who interact with print, digital, and elsewhere want both. They don't want to end up in exclusive territory. And this next chart here really touches on the cultural change that we're all involved with here. And, you know, knowing history really allows you the beauty of looking back in time. But I come from a family that's been involved in magazine publishing and distribution for, 100 years. And, I can remember sitting around a dinner table with people talking about, oh my goodness, there's 3 TV channels going to 12 TV channels. It's the end of something. I wasn't sure what. I was too busy trying to get food in my mouth. But, as we move through these last 40 or 50 years, clearly we're in the middle of a cultural change here. And it's all about managing change. In some regard, it's a little bit about managing decline, but it certainly is all about managing the change that we're going through. And the mobile piece of this business is just going to be tantamount to everything. So we've got to focus on it. We also have to, at the same time, we're going through this incredible cultural change, which we'll all find out where we're going to end up. And in fact, I have 3 sons, ages 23 to 27, not necessarily smarter than the average bear, but all readers. They read magazines, they read books, they have all the little gizmos, but certainly print will be a part of their world. And at least for a lot of the friends of theirs I see, it's there. So I'm definitely not in that zone of every kid around me is just with their gimmicks, although they all have them. But still, this cultural change will go on probably long after we finish these meetings. And really, what we got faced with was this, sort of layered over this was this economic tsunami that came down across the world, really. Less purchases due to fewer shopping trips, spending down year after year after year, consumer spending that is, non-food sales, which is where magazines lie inside particularly the mass market grocery, down 6% just through May of 2012, and that's after 2, 3, 4 years of steady negative decline to the non-food business. And magazines, by the way, in terms of non-food at mass market, top three product line for most of these retailers. So when magazines are down, non-food folks at retail are really having a tough time. Retailers have had to react to this consumer change in behavior, and this is a pretty astonishing number here. The average number of products sold in the supermarket has gone from 355,000 to 370,000 products. A 14% reduction in how much a supermarket will carry. And here is in the US, the average household pantry has gone from 400 products down to 360. So to John's point, to points earlier made today, to Mike's point, the behaviors haven't just changed, but they've really kind of changed forever. And really becomes, our job to figure out how we're going to live in that new world. There's also been a loss in checkout space, given up largely to coolers and self-scan as well. The magazine sales trend in the #1 classes of trade have mirrored what we've seen in the marketplace, and obviously, as they touched on earlier, the loss of the major wholesaler in '09 definitely had an impact with regard to across-the-board deliveries and certainly some disruption for probably 6 to 7 months. So we've left with this much more discerning and much more savvy consumer who is really going to spend their time looking for value It really is another point that's been echoed here already today. We've taken a number of actions at Rodell, which has allowed us to maintain and grow our share across the board. And rather than share every one of them here today over the next couple of days in our meetings with our business associations and partners where we're looking to grow sale, we'll walk you through some of the activities we've been using, again, for the last 2 or 3 years to make some headway. Thank you.